Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride. All right, welcome in, everybody. Pull yourself up a ringside seat. For our podcast today, we are doing a continuation of our series on WrestleMania 39 called The Story So Far, where we are going through breaking down some of the matches that are lined up. So we want to bring this to you today. So your host here, Marky Mark, along with my other host, Frank. How we doing today, Frank?
Oh, I'm good. It's still in WrestleMania season, so I'm still in the happiest time of my life. So let's get to getting it. We had some major developments since the last show in the Cody Roman match, but we're not going to talk about those today. We have sworn ourselves because we talked so much about it last time. So, the exciting stuff, we may recap it at a later date, but not today. We're moving into some other matches that got to be discussed.
There we go. So I want to kick off today's topic with one of the women's championships. This one will be for the Raw Women's Championship. This would be Bianca Belair versus Asuka. Nobody's ready for Asuka.
Nobody's ready for Asuka except possibly the EST of WWE. That girl is the strongest, the fastest, the baddest, the finest. Oh, my bad. Oops.
Got a little carried away, huh?
Yeah. Well, that girl fine. Montez Ford, a lucky man. That's a lucky man. That's all I can say about that. I'll leave it at that. That's a lucky man.
All right. So really not a lot of backstory on this. I don't recall many storylines in the past where these two have kind of been put in there against each other.
Oh, well, coming into the new year, remember they were doing the little tag team thing with her and Alexa, and they're doing their three-way thing against Damage Control. That's pretty much it. I mean, her and Alexa kind of had the falling out after the team dissolved, and they wrestled for the championship, and now Alexa's gone, and now Asuka's getting her turn. So it just, not outside of storylines, just as a business thing, it kind of seems like they told Asuka and Alexa, like, hey, we need you guys to kind of be the backup for Bianca here, but we'll pay you back on the back end. So now they're getting their payoff, but pretty damn good payoff there for Asuka. I mean, WrestleMania match against the champ. Not a bad way to, get paid back for your work. So not horrible, but yeah, as far as TV storylines, they haven't really invested a lot of time into the match yet, so maybe we'll get there. But up till now, they're kind of doing their own thing elsewhere.
Yeah. So want to bring into our discussion here. So, Frank, what was one of the things that I had been saying about Asuka forever? What have you had to hear me preach?
Yeah, so that's history. So that's my thing. I'll bring up the history. I know you had mentioned Asuka's previous incarnation before her WWE days. The gimmick that she was doing in Japan and things like that. And, and it looks like they're leaning more that way. I'll let you get into the specifics of it because, like you said, you're on top of that.
Yeah, so Asuka's character in New Japan, I don't know if you pronounce it Kana, I don't know how you pronounce it, but that character that she had over there was something that was a sight to behold. She was vicious. And I mean, when I say vicious, I'm not talking about Sid Vicious. I'm talking about vicious as in AJ Styles bulldog mentality vicious.
Okay. Like
she would latch into an opponent and just not let go. In New Japan, their thing was strong style.
Yep.
And if anybody has ever seen strong style in New Japan or Wrestling Noah, you know what I'm talking about. It is very stiff form of professional wrestling. You're not out there to hurt each other, but you are out there to be impressive. And it was how they honor it and what they call it. It's called the spirit of the fight.
Okay.
And basically, when she was that form of herself there in New Japan, she was a combination of, if you've seen Shinsuke, how he fought in New Japan, Tajiri, how he fought back in the day, the Japanese buzzsaw.
Okay.
She's very quick, very concise, very fluid, very powerful. That was her incarnation there in the New Japan. So to see her bring that to WWE, dude, I'm all for it. It's I'm hoping they eventually unleash this version of Asuka.
Yeah, well, it definitely sounds like an interesting fold, ruffle to her feather over there. If she can get, a different aspect of her character and bring that kind of intensity into a match, it definitely sounds like it's something that'd be interesting to watch. I'll be completely honest with you. It seems like that's what she would need to bring, to against a competitor the caliber of Bianca. I mean, Bianca's on a hell of a run right now. She's about to hit a year mark of being champion at WrestleMania. That'll be her year. And I mean, she's had a great run this time. The first run after she beat I wanted to call her Sasha Banks, but that woman doesn't exist.
Oh, she don't exist anymore.
So after she beat Mercedes Moné back in WrestleMania, she kind of had it was kind of a, just kind of an offbeat run. She wrestled, she defended the title. It was just funky though. She wasn't really in any key storylines. Sasha left right after, so she couldn't partner right back up with her. The storylines just weren't that interesting. And then you bring Becky Lynch back after her pregnancy leave or whatnot. She beats her in less than a minute. That's not how you stamp a champion. That's not how you make a new character.
Right.
That almost buries a character. I mean, that was almost as bad as when Brock beat Kofi for the belt after Kofi Mania, a summer of Kofi Mania. It takes you down that line of thinking, and it's just like, ugh, why? Why are we doing that? So for her to get a good run this year, have a good title reign, Asuka would have to bring a new fold to her character to be able to compete with somebody on Bianca's level now.
Absolutely. And I think they started tapping some of that mentality though when she was in NXT.
Yeah.
They tried to push that narrative, especially when she was just unbeatable.
Yeah.
And the moniker "Nobody's Ready for Asuka."
Mm-hmm. I think she's still the longest reigning female champion over in NXT. So, she definitely had a lot of character development there. But as we've noticed with a lot of NXT characters, once they get that call up to the main roster, they get kind of watered down and possibly overproduced. I mean, she got called up during the Vince era, so we know there was going to be some overproducing going on with her, with her limited English and all that when she first started. They were going to overproduce her some way or another, and then the watering down. They don't bring that kind of intensity. KO was a monster in NXT.
Right.
Then when he came up to the main roster, he kind of watered down a little bit. So, it's just kind of the nature of the beast, or at least it was, but being able to bring some of that NXT Asuka back to the WWE now with Triple H in charge definitely makes for a more interesting character, that's for sure.
Yeah. So let's switch gears. Let's talk a little bit about Bianca. So Bianca, too, within her own right, was a beast in NXT.
Yep.
I don't think we've quite seen anybody come in with as much natural gifted ability as she has and just be green.
Not this way.
No. I mean, she was track and field. She was power lifter, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
And was she discovered by Mark Henry?
I think he had some. I definitely know he played some part in her bringing and getting her introduced to the business.
Right.
He definitely referred her to WWE like, hey, this girl's really got something. You guys better keep an eye on her. But like you said, there's been a lot of natural athletes to come down the pike. As far as the women's side, Charlotte was a natural athlete. When she came in, she was a gymnast and volleyball. So she had been a lifelong athlete, but she wasn't as green as Bianca simply for the fact that she'd been around the business her entire life. From day one until the day she broke in, her life had wrestling in it. Right. So she wasn't completely new to this thing, as like a Bianca was. Like you said, Bianca had done every, athletic, avenue that was available to her coming up. But, she didn't have an end to wrestling. So,
yeah. But I think, though, I guess there's been some discussion in the past about, Asuka on the mic, the language barrier. Maybe that's why there's not been too much story between the two.
Yeah.
But the story that I see between the two, if we're going to put a story in there together, we are the Bookers Alliance after all.
Somebody's got to do it. Why not us?
Right. But I mean, the story between the two that I see is the parallel, the similar, how they're both considered the best in their class, so to speak. So, Bianca came in. I don't think her and Asuka I don't think they mixed it up in NXT, did they?
No. I think by the time Bianca got to NXT, I think Asuka had already left NXT.
Right.
I think she was on the way out. I know Bianca had her hurdles that, she never could overcome down in NXT, but I don't think that was Asuka. So I'm not an NXT nerd like I am a WWE nerd. I know all the stats in WWE, so I don't know them all in NXT the same way. But yeah, I don't think they ran into each other. We might have to come back to that one. That's a possibility. That one's up in the air. I don't know.
Yeah, but I am interested in this match. I am interested in seeing the outcome. As far as Bianca, being the EST, I don't know that necessarily she's the EST in this situation. I don't know if she's the best. I think this version of Asuka is a version we've not seen yet. I think in this version, could they be blending some of what was in New Japan with a WWE flair and a WWE style? I don't know that we know what to expect. Therefore, I don't know that Bianca knows what to expect.
No, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I will tell you, Asuka is going to have to bring everything she's got to be the best out of that match, because I feel like Bianca is going to bring everything that she has. But one thing I will tell you is the old way, we talk about a lot on here, the old way versus current. The old way, the winner already, we would have known the winner a month ago. It would have been so obvious that, it was slapping you in the face. If you didn't realize it, then you weren't really a good fan. The upside of it is now a match like this, it has the potential to be a sleeper match. I mean, this could steal the show.
Could be Steamboat Savage.
It could turn out to be that way. These two women, if they could put together a good, nice storytelling match, with good athleticism, good wrestling, both of them have the capability to do both. This could turn out to be one of those sleeper matches that steals the show.
Yep. All right, put you on the spot. Who you picking?
If I had to pick today, I would say give me Asuka, because Bianca's been champ for a year. I see it being time to switch things up a little bit. All the champions in WWE right now have been champs for a long time. I feel like WrestleMania, is that reset time. I feel like putting the belt on Asuka with a little, maybe like the mist or something like that, outside interference, perhaps something, that can carry the story along. I feel like having Bianca chase the title from Asuka is a better storytelling mechanism than having Bianca being the champion and Asuka chasing.
So for me, old WWE, I would say Bianca retains.
Okay.
And I would say that because of the promo tour she's about to take for this reality show that her and Montez has going on. Current WWE, though, I'm going to pick Asuka as well.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Asuka because I think there's going to be a changing of the guard. I think we're going to finally get to see this Asuka championship run that we wanted to see from her NXT crossover to the main roster.
All right.
So
look at that. We agree on one there.
Hey,
that's a first.
That's a first.
Now, we know that doesn't make for the most compelling of radio shows here, but the way we get there, if you really think about it, the way we get there, I mean, there's a lot of things that are leaning towards Asuka. So, hey, that's where we're going.
Yep. All right, so let's switch gears. Let's talk about the other women's championship match. And, of course, this would be between Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley.
Ah, mommy.
Mommy.
All right.
That lucky Dom.
Yeah. And, the only guy that can get engaged in the real world and then get paired up with Rhea Ripley in the fake world. Hell. Pays to be legacy, I guess.
Yep. So this one, though, whereas Bianca and Asuka did not have backstory, this one's got some backstory.
Oh, yeah. This got good backstory.
These two have faced off before.
Yep. And that was where Rhea came in as champion. Charlotte came in to overthrow her, and she did, made Rhea tap out. There's a lot of backstory to that, but they were kind of in that stage where they were trying to elevate Rhea, but again, old guard, as we've been saying, they were trying to elevate her, then let's pull her back real quick. We got a guaranteed thing with Charlotte Flair here. We're just going to stick with that. But, it didn't like that now. We're looking at a completely different era now. That's not to say I'm not saying who I'm picking. I'm not saying I'm picking Rhea. I'm just saying Rhea's got a lot of momentum behind her right now. What she's doing with the New Day. I'm sorry, the
New Day?
Yeah, the New Day. Good Lord. I don't even want to speak that into existence because I already know what Xavier Woods did with the last goth-looking chick.
We can't go there. We're family-friendly show. We can't go there.
All righty then. All right, let's bring it back. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down. So what Rhea Ripley's doing right now, I got to get composed here. Now that story was.
You got hot and flustered? Did you get hot there?
That story was about to go a long way the wrong way. So
you talking about the Judgment Day?
Yeah. Okay. But that story was on its way to taking our happy little PG-13 rating way off into NC-17.
Yeah,
but yeah,
and all we're going to say, everybody, is if you know, you know.
Oh yeah, if you know, you know, and if you don't know, look it up. But it's moving on. But yeah, so what Rhea's doing now, is it's magic. It's basically saving that faction. I mean, because they haven't had a lot of wins in high profile matches. Edge has beaten all of them countless times. He's beaten them on every pay-per-view since they broke up. I'd actually like to see Edge go back to that group and rescue that group, but that's a different podcast. That's a different match for a different time. But yeah, what Rhea's been doing with Judgment Day the last few months, and the whole mommy character and all that is great. And I feel like we haven't really gotten that same development from Charlotte's return. Charlotte returned, first night back, beat Ronda Rousey for the belt that she had dropped to Ronda 9 months before. Okay, it happened. Charlotte's now 14-time champion. That's kind of its own story in the fact that, she's held that title more than any other woman, and, she's chasing her dad's record. So she's got her own story in there. But, just Rhea's story is compelling right now. It is good TV.
Yeah.
So that match, like you said, with the backstory that they're bringing into it and where they're both at currently, that brings a lot of meat to the bone on that. So as good old JR would say, that brings some steak with that sizzle. So I'm definitely interested to see that match. That's going to be some good stuff.
Yeah. And as we were talking about before with Bianca and with Asuka, the parallels. There's parallels all over the place between Rhea and Charlotte.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes it's like looking at a mirrored image.
Yeah.
I'm
sure you've seen how Rhea changed her look from when she first came to NXT.
Absolutely.
She almost was a carbon copy of Charlotte. So I don't know if anybody's made it as extreme of a image change as Rhea did, but it was for the best for her. Now she doesn't look anything like any of the other women in WWE right now, and that's a good thing.
Yep. And I think stylistically in the ring, they're both very powerful.
Yep.
But I think what they bring to their style of fighting, though, they have a dominance when it comes just to body size, body type.
Yep.
And there's not really anybody else in there that matches up with their style.
Nope.
Because, if you look at their body types, they are Beth Phoenix, they are China.
Yep.
It is that type of just a dominating force.
Yep. Which makes them a good, one-off to each other. It's kind of like that yin versus yang type matchup that you have here. Who we already talked about, Bianca. She's got that same kind of size. Those are the only three.
Yeah.
Those are the three women that have that dominating, athletic build, the size, the strength. They can bring that power game. And that's what's going to make it interesting because Charlotte and Rhea are really good workers. So, they'll be able to put together a good match. Plus, with their, the differences in their work style will make for some interesting moments in those matches too.
The only fear that I have coming out of this match is what is after this for both of them. Because I've seen Charlotte work programs with Becky. I've seen Charlotte work programs with just about everybody that's in there.
Yeah.
Where does Charlotte go? And I know we've heard these conversations in the past about, well, maybe it's time for them to start stepping up and wrestling men. I mean, that's eventually what happened to China.
I don't want to see anything.
Yeah, I think if anything,
China kind of went the other way based on her documentary. She started wrestling men, and then as her career kind of tapered off, she had to wrestle women.
Right.
Which, that's another podcast.
Yeah, but I don't know where they go, honestly, with either one of them after this. Now, I think with Rhea has gotten very good at working with people smaller than her.
Yep.
The match with Liv that she had where she put that, what is that move that she called? What does she call that?
The reverse cloverleaf.
Yeah. What does she call that?
I don't know. It's not a riptide, so
No.
I don't know.
But that move that she did, then she almost turned it into the freaking lion tamer when she put her knee on her neck.
I mean, because Liv's so small,
Right.
just so bendable out.
Well, here we go again. We're going down a podcast we can't do.
Yeah, sorry. Just thinking out loud again. But you bring up an interesting point, though. Like, where do they go? So here's one issue that we have. Currently, Judgment Day is on Raw. They're wrestling for the SmackDown title.
True.
If Rhea wins the title, I know they've basically done away with the brand split anyway. I mean, everybody kind of goes wherever they want right now as is. But if at some point after WrestleMania you want to stay true to the brand split, do you split up Judgment Day to let Rhea hold the belt over in SmackDown? Or, what do you do with that? So, I mean, that brings up its own version of confusion of, now you're going to have one as a champion on another brand, but she's running with a group that runs Raw because they claim to run Raw. So if she wins, how does that play out? What do we do with that? So who knows? I don't see Bianca going to SmackDown, so they're not going to flip-flop. They're not switching because you got 3 Raw people and 1 SmackDown wrestler in these 2 matches here. So you're painting yourself into an interesting corner depending on what happens with the brand split after Mania.
Right. I don't know. I mean, obviously, Charlotte, we all think she's going to eventually break the record of 16 times.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
unless Andrade breaks the record first. I mean, that's your only other option.
Yeah,
that's the only option to keep her away from going over 16.
True. But, I mean, I just don't know. I mean, Charlotte's been anything and everything. We've seen her do it already. So it's like where else can she go, right? With Rhea, there's still a whole world out there that you can explore as far as matches with Rhea. So it'd be interesting. So again, put you on the spot. Who you picking?
So I mean, I leaned real heavy into Rhea, into her, because like I said, her story is good. Everything she's touching right now is turning to gold for her. So I mean, she's got the Midas touch right now. But I think at the end of the day, that last point of she's on the wrong brand to have that belt. Honestly, I think that's what's going to keep her away from, achieving this WrestleMania win here that she's looking for. I think it's going to end up going to Charlotte just because I don't see them breaking up Judgment Day for her individual goal. I feel like what they're doing right now is good enough as is, so I don't see her picking up that W. So I'd love to see it, but I don't see it.
So I'm gonna disagree. I'm going with Rhea.
We almost had cohesiveness here, but not again.
I'm going with Rhea. Charlotte's got to get to 16 somehow, and you can't get to 16 if you keep retaining.
Well, true, but Charlotte's what, 34? I mean, she's a youngin' still. Charlotte's got a lot. By the time Rick got to 16, Rick was 60, so I mean, he was 50. But he was old, he's an old guy. Like I said, with all that Charlotte has going on right now, I think she's only defended that title once since she won it. Does she really only get two matches and win one, lose one after? I don't know about that. Like I said, it'll be interesting, but I think we're going to have to disagree on that. I don't think you're going to sway me on this one.
All right. So we'll agree to disagree.
All right.
On this match. And so let's do something that we've not done here yet on the Bookers Alliance. We are running out of time, so let's throw in a squash match. You ready?
All right, let's see what we can get here.
All right, squash match. Brock Omos.
Oh, God. That match. All right, quick answer. So it's going to be a quick match, I feel. So I'm going to give a quick answer. I feel like Omos gets the W. I feel like Brock puts over the young new up-and-comer on his way. Supposedly out, that's the rumor that's out there. Anybody listening to this has either heard it or has no clue what we're talking about. But the rumor that's out there is Brock's on his way out. So I feel like he puts the big guy over on his way out, gives him a W.
Okay.
That's all I got to say about that match. That's going to be bowl and shoe ugly. And I'm going to run out of there like a scalded dog.
So I'm going to keep our trend going. I'm going to disagree.
Oh, my God.
I'm saying Brock goes out on top. He squashes Omos. So I'm going. And he squashes MVP in the middle of it. Somehow, some way, MVP is going to get squashed.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then Brock's going to spit the moonshine back in MVP's face.
Oh, good Lord. None of this sounds appealing to me. Oh, God. That's going to be a let-me-up match, I feel like that.
The only question is, how many F5s are we going to get?
How many F5s can he do? I mean, I know he did one to Big. He's done them to Big Show, so I mean, he can do it. Looking at Brock, I don't think anybody's gonna fret over his strength. I don't see him having a problem doing. Plus, I'm sure they're practicing a lot, so I'm sure whatever moves we're gonna see, they've done 100 times by now. So whether or not whatever they're gonna try and do, they've done.
Hey, maybe they pass the torch and Omos gets the F5.
Omos gets an F5. That's going to be the ugliest F5. Oh, my God. If I was Brock, I wouldn't do it. First of all, it's too high up in the air. Second of all, there ain't no way he's going to drop him safely.
Brock's sitting there going, that don't work for me, bro.
Yeah, no, that ain't going to work for him, brother. Oh, no. It's a little creative control. Brock might walk a little early on that one if that happens. Ugh.
All right, so that'll end our squash match, and that will also end our topic for today. We always, as always, feel free, reach out on our social media avenues. Feel free to hit us up with your thoughts on the matches that we discussed today. And if you agree, disagree, let's have some conversation.
All right. As you know, we always say, hit us up on the social media. Tell us what your opinions are. We definitely don't have a problem arguing. So, if you got a different opinion, let us know. We'll definitely hit you back and tell you what our opinion is or why we do or don't agree with your opinion.
All right. With that, everybody, we bid you adieu.
WrestleMania. Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SVP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.